Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
This is episode 1000. Yay! Okay, they don't make noise.
Okay.
So that was not in the budget. Our set designer, it was his responsibility to get us. This is all he had to do today. This is the only thing on his list. He went to Dollar Tree, and they didn't have the ones that made noise. So apparently, you have to go to Walmart.
There you go. So welcome to episode 1000. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate all the videos you've been watching and the comments especially. Thank you very much. If you want to keep getting our videos, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll keep getting our videos. I don't know if that we're going to be doing one a day, but we are going to strive to provide you with as much good content as we can.
Okay, so today we're going to answer your questions. We've got 33 of them. Some are really short, and we'll just power through them. And then some of them are a little bit longer. And so I think it'll be fun.
Yes. All right, so let's get down to business. So we're going to name who posed the question, and we're going to read the question, and one of us will answer the question.
Okay.
Or maybe both.
Yeah, so we'll start with Flankman. Question, where would you choose to live if you had a house budget of $450? Can you give a specific zip code? So let's keep this to Vegas, because I mean, the whole country really going to do that.
Okay, so Vegas is something that we know. I'm going to name like a handful of zip codes. They're not the only ones that I would live in, but they're ones that are easy for me to name in. Some of them I have lived in or currently live in. So 89117, 89135, 89134, 89074, 89052, 89012. That's a few.
So
I would live in Southern Highlands. I would live in Silverado Ranch.
For that price.
For that price. I would live in Green Valley. I would live in Summerlin. I would live in the Lakes. I would live in Piccoli Ranch. There are lots of communities.
Yep, same for all of those. And I actually lived in 89117 like 40-something years ago.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. All right. Here's the next question. Cody McCall. What did you fly in the United States Marine Corps? Do you still fly today?
In the Marine Corps, I didn't fly anything.
Okay. And why did you not, you weren't even in the Marine Corps. Why did you not pursue flight right?
That's why I didn't do it.
Okay, so in the Marine Corps, I flew a couple different airplanes, the T2, which is a trainer, the A4 Skyhawk, the A6 Intruder, which is, A4 and the A6 are basically attack aircraft. I do still fly today occasionally. Why did I not pursue a professional flying career? Actually did. My job before I started real estate was I was a commercial pilot for one of the largest international airlines in the world. And I was a captain at that airline. And after just about 4 years after I got hired, I flew for many years. And then what happened was, because of real estate, I took what's called a personal leave of absence. And I just took a break from the career because you're allowed to do that. So, but I did. I flew a bunch of different aircraft. 727, 757, 767, 787, Airbus, a bunch of Airbus aircraft. So I've flown a bunch of commercial airplanes.
Okay.
I've type rated in all of them. Okay, next question. Oana. This is from Actual Surfer. Okay. He's an actual surfer, not a, okay.
I'm a fake surfer.
AI affect real estate agents, brokers, and the home buying experience in the future?
So really good question. As a matter of fact, I was chatting with several agents today about that. So AI is going to improve the experience, I think, for everyone. Currently, Zillow is playing with this with ChatGPT 4.0 as a plugin, but you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see AI really help buyers really define and refine their home searches better. You're going to see AI help sellers get their homes ready for sale better. You're going to see AI help buyers and sellers with the contracts. You're going to see agents get a lot of assistance from AI regarding marketing, regarding communications, regarding contracts, regarding all kinds of things. So AI will improve the experience for everyone. And I think AI will enable agents to elevate their professionalism and focus on what's important, which is the clients.
Okay, if I was going to build this is how I build it. Now, just a really quick background. I actually used to build software. I built the first ever pilot logbook for Windows ever in the history of aviation. And this is right at the beginning of the internet. You could only run it on a Windows machine, and it was the most popular one. Anyway, what I would build is I would build a tool that when the people go in and chat with the AI, that the agents also gets to see the conversation. It's like a thread, but the agent can see what questions are asking. So it can also intervene. Like it has the ability to be another person that says, oh, hey, wait, mate, hold on a minute. The AI was maybe. So you need I think for a while you're going to need the humans. I don't believe that it'll replace real estate agents. I think it'll make agents more productive. It'll let agents talk to more people and do more stuff. So that's kind of that.
Yeah, I think it'll elevate the experience for everybody.
Okay, Actual Surfer has two. These are actually his three questions, so we'll just answer them real quick. Can you comment on the NAR class action suit, and where does Todd get his suits? I'll start with where does Todd get his suits. I don't wear suits. I have a pair of jeans, and then I just wear these shirts. I have like 6 of them that I rotate through, and then I have 2 blazers, which I found out in some parts of the country are called blazers, and some parts of the country are called sports coats. So I got in a fight with a guy almost because he said it was a blazer, and I said sports coat, and he thought sports coat was like a windbreaker. And anyway.
Okay, so NAR had 2 class action lawsuits going. One of them, the Supreme Court said that they would not hear, so it's going to go back to the previous court.
It was a pocket listing suit.
Yeah, so it was about pocket listings. Pocket listings are listings that are not placed in the MLS. They are just listings that are marketed by agents within their own agency. And so that one really didn't have any legs. And then the other one has to do with commissions, and that one is still ongoing. The basic premise behind that is that the seller is actually paying for both the listing agent and the buyer's agent, and that creates conflict and that sort of thing. So we'll see where that goes. My personal sentiment on that, not that you asked, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. What I would like to see is I would like to see a situation where the buyer actually hires their agent and actually pays for their own agent so that their interests are better aligned. The way it is right now, the interests are more, to a large extent, aligned for the seller because the more the house sells for, the more both agents get paid. So that does not necessarily serve the buyer who is looking to pay less for a property.
My take on it, I have the same take NAR has. The listing agreement is only agreement between the listing brokerage and the seller, period, end of story. They agree to pay whatever it is, 10 bananas, 20 coconuts, whatever they pay for the services. How the brokerage splits that money with other brokers is irrelevant because the person's already agreed, I'm going to be giving up so much money to sell the house. Whether that brokerage procures a buyer or they agree to cooperate with other agents and pay, they're not really paying. They're already paying that money. It's not like they pay an extra thing if there's another broker. That's NAR's take. I think that's where this is going to go.
Right.
This is just being moved along, but it doesn't look like it got class action, but it doesn't really look like it's a significant thing.
So, one of the things that bothers me is that we see this all the time in listings that if a full price offer is made and accepted, then the buyer's agent gets paid this much. If the offer is less than full price, then the buyer's agent gets paid less. And so again, that disincentivizes the buyer's agent from really representing their client's best interests versus their own.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't agree with that, but that's fine.
You don't have to agree. That's my sentiment.
TQME1 is their question. No picture, just a T. What was the most shocking or surprising home you ever had to deal with or heard of?
Okay, so we've talked about this on a previous video. The most shocking one was I used to work with somebody that I used to flip houses with, and he had a friend. And the story goes that his friend was looking to buy houses at the trustee sale. So the friend goes over, sees the house, kind of walks around it, checks it out, goes, yeah, here's the house, it's okay. The friend goes the next day to the trustee sale and buys the house. And then he shows up to go check out the house, and the house is gone. So apparently what happened, that the house literally was moved off its foundation and made off and went someplace else. So that's the most shocking story I have heard of. What have you heard?
A guy we used to flip houses with in Vegas here told me of a story. It wasn't him, it was somebody else. Mm-hmm. He looked at the house the day before. They went to the trustee sale, he bought it, and he went right back over to the house after he gave up his cashier's checks for the house. And the house had burned down the night before. Mm-hmm. Apparently, right after he had seen it, apparently the previous owner said, if the bank wants the house back, they actually arsoned it. The problem is there's no insurance on the, he didn't have insurance in place. It's not going to cover it. So he effectively bought the lot, but he couldn't get his money back. So that was pretty bad. Okay. It's a long one, but I think we can handle this. Okay. This is from Heather. Heather's has left some comments. She's a super watcher. Okay. My question for your 1,000th episode: the people buying right now, are many of them maxing their budget? How many of them are there? How many are topping out their debt to income? Could we see increase in foreclosures? Because while people can afford it, there's a high number of people that barely can. I'm worried right now we're creating a lot of house poor owners. And if home prices do decrease, would a lot of them just walk away? That makes me afraid to buy right now. I would be buying at the top of the market, while moderate decrease in value could be tolerable. 75% is not okay. First of all, I can't imagine 75% property values decreasing. I don't know that we're at the top of the market. We thought we were at the top of the market a year ago today, and here we are. Home prices are higher in most of the country, except for like 6 markets. We're in one of them right now, okay? But here's the biggest thing. Yes, there's some people buying now. Of all the people buying now, they're all paying more than they paid in the past. So just take all the homes ever purchased in the past and just assume they're paying the most ever right now, right? But remember, all those people in the past, they all have super low interest rates. They have a ton of equity. So just because the couple people buying now have a higher, that doesn't mean the whole market has. So even if the market drops 10 or 20%, almost everybody else has still got a ton of equity, and nobody's just going to walk away from their 2.75% loan because they used to have $300,000 of equity. Now they only have $275 or whatever. And even if all those people stopped paying, they would not all get foreclosed. It would take years for that to happen, and the banks would all. I honestly don't see this being a problem, and I don't see 75% price decreases. If I did, we would sell all our rental houses and put the cash.
Right. So a couple things. When I share your concern, I don't like people being house poor. I don't think that's a good scenario. So I share your concern on that. But to Todd's point, the number of people buying homes now is so small compared to the number of everybody who owns a home that they're not enough to be a tipping point for home values to drop.
Yeah.
Now, as far as increase in foreclosures, I promise there will be an increase in foreclosures, okay? But the reason for that is because we basically haven't had any in a couple years.
We have one every 3 days in Vegas.
Right.
For 400,000 houses.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Yes, there will be more foreclosures. Will there be enough to negatively impact property values? Probably not. Now, does this speak to every community? Of course not. This is market specific. So, but when we're looking at the whole country as a whole, I don't see that happening. I mean, can there be markets where they really do have a lot of foreclosures? Of course. If you're in a town and whatever the main industry is, shutters its doors, that's a possibility. Right. But for most of the country, that's not going to apply.
Let's move through. Cheryl Broadenex has the next question. I too have paid my house paid off. Congratulations. Yay! That's awesome. However, my concern is the government will tax paid off homes more to subsidize people in debt. You want to start off with this?
Sure. So what you're actually talking about is a wealth tax. Several countries have tried it and they've abandoned it because it doesn't work well. It's very
France.
Right. And so that's kind of the short answer. The longer answer is we don't have a mechanism in place for that. It would, and the government is to our benefit slow to do a whole lot of things, and I don't see that happening. That's really the short answer. Is it possible? Yeah. Of course it is. But do we see that happening? Unlikely.
It probably takes a amendment to the U.S. Constitution to do that, to tax wealth in that way.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
In that way, for that specific purpose, okay? Okay, Critical Chris. Let's see if it's a critical question. Did I miss you all discussing new rental unit inventory coming online 2023? Did I miss something? Don't you believe developers also took advantage of low interest rates the last few years? Of course. Do you believe new inventory will affect rents? What about office to home conversions that are punctuating the pages of big city newspapers?
Okay, so we did talk about that yesterday. Yes, there are lots of office to residential conversions. We talked about the Rand McNally building in New York. We talked about the possibility of that in San Francisco. Yes, that is a possibility.
And those cities need it. Like New York and San Francisco, big cities need that conversion as people don't gather in. I mean, do you remember the industrial age? People gather in factories. Now we're more in the information age. They gather in commercial in buildings. Now they don't gather because we have technology. So people just stay home. So we're converting all this space. But it's not going to affect like Vegas or like San Diego or places like that where the population is, you don't have massive cities. And I don't think there's the new rental inventory are apartments. And that does affect housing. But remember, in the last 12 months, in top 500 markets, 499 of them, rents went up. And the only one they went down in was Vegas.
So,
and it was 0.9%. It wasn't substantial.
Right. So to cap it off, you're going to need high density like you have in San Francisco or New York City or Chicago or someplace like that in order for conversion from office to residential to be financially viable.
Okay. Jazzman asks, what was your scariest moment as a pilot? Any dog fights? So scariest moment as a pilot, probably that most pilots will say, well, for me, it was landing on an aircraft carrier at night. That's the hardest thing to do. That was scarier than the numerous number of combat missions that I flew, getting shot at, surface-to-air missiles, anti-aircraft artillery. Landing on the boat at night is really hard and it's really scary. Dogfights, no, because I flew an attack aircraft. So we were flying in to bomb something and to fly back out. So we weren't trying to engage other airplanes. And there's actually fighter aircraft that don't really do anything except for try to keep the attack aircraft from getting hit by other aircraft. But in the conflicts I flew in, there was no air-to-air threat because they didn't want to deal with our aircraft. So they just all stayed on the ground. Mm-hmm. And that's Mideast. Okay, JK asks, this is another question for me. Was Todd an NFO or a pilot? That's a great question. NFO's Naval Flight Officer. If you saw the movie Top Gun, Goose was an NFO. His wings were different. He had the crossed anchors, so he was Naval Flight Officer. So I was a pilot. I was a naval aviator pilot, even though I was Marine Corps. Fixed wing or helo, I only flew fixed wing. I flew jets actually the whole time. Annapolis grad, yes, I graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy, and so yeah, that's it, pretty much. Natalia, what should happen? What would it take for home prices to go down? Like, what would cause home prices to go down?
So number one, inventory.
Yeah. So
that's the one thing, if we get a lot of inventory and it's not being absorbed, then home prices are going to go down. This is supply and demand. If we have excess supply and diminished demand, you're going to see a softening of prices. Yeah,
and there has to be some event to happen. New home builders, the permits have been dropping like crazy. There's no real new home construction this year will be way under household formation. So where the 6.5 million hole we're in of short homes is just going to keep getting worse. So it's going to take substantial amount. We have a whole video on that. I think this is Justin, but it's Jay in Row 2 days ago asked, question for 1,000th episode, any real estate regrets, something you didn't buy or regret buying?
Yes. Yes, lots of houses. Honestly, I think all of us, if we could go back to like 2009, 10, 11, we would, sell every last sock we had. We would go around in one outfit for years just to be able to buy every house we could get our hands on, right? That's the biggest regret, is not buying a whole lot of houses when they were so affordable. Super, super affordable, yeah. Pepperoni Pizza, super commenter. I like almost all the videos. Okay. Question for the 1,000th episode. We love Pep. Pep's awesome. He's okay. What do you guys think happens at Area 51? And do you believe in aliens? So I'll let you start because I know what happens there, and then I have a good alien answer.
Do they have fashion shows?
They do not have fashion shows. It's not Area 15 is off the freeway, and that's like a fun place to go. But this is Area 51. This is the Groom Lake up north.
Shoes.
They don't have shoes.
They have a lot of shoes.
Okay.
Okay, they don't have shoes. Fine. I don't care about Area 15. I'm sorry, but I don't. But as far as, I'll answer the second part. Do I think I do not believe we are alone in the universe.
Yep.
And the reason for that is because we're not that special. Okay? I'm sorry. I know we are that special. But
Yeah.
No, seriously, I don't think humanity is, the pinnacle of evolution. I think that we are not alone in the universe. I think that there are um, other living things in the universe, and as to whether or not they have visited us, um, I don't know. I just don't think that we're interesting enough to visit yet.
Yep.
I think maybe they kind of went by, looked down, they went, maybe in a few millennia, and kept on going.
Yeah. I don't know. Area 51 is it's an Air Force facility. Basically, it's run by the Air Force, but it is just they test airplanes. I mean, the SR-71, they tested it out of there. They do it because the weather's good. They can take off at night when they can't be seen by satellites and all the stealth fighters and everything. So they park them in those big hangars. You can't see them. They do all the work. They fly people in. You can't even really drive in and out. They fly people in, fly them out. It's very controlled. They don't let you bring stuff. Don't believe in like space. I don't believe that like in Roswell we shot down aliens and then.
Okay, but you do believe in the Area 51 beef jerky.
Area 51 beef jerky is made from actual alien meat.
Okay.
It's okay. Robert Mitchell, Todd, did you ever fly into Marine Corps Air Station Yuma, Arizona? Absolutely. We did a weapons det there. In the A6 Intruder, there's a live bombing range out there in the Chocolate Mountains, and we actually can take off with actual, like, not practice bombs, but like bombs that explode, and then fly low levels to a bombing area where we can actually drop the bombs.
Are you saying that you bombed mountains made of chocolate?
It's called the Chocolate Mountains, but it's a bombing area. And yeah, we did. We bombed Chocolate Mountains.
Okay. You had my attention at chocolate.
Okay, our next one is from Stephanie Checkley. Living in St. Paul, not only is she also a YouTuber, if you're going to buy or sell a house in St. Paul, Minneapolis, or any there, you need to call Stephanie. And she's one of our awesome Referral Cloud agents.
Hi, Stephanie.
Stephanie's awesome. Okay, getting close to 1,000. Okay, my question is this. What are you two investing in?
That's a great question. So we invest partly like everybody else. 401ks get invested in stocks and mutual funds and things like bonds and things like that. We invest in real estate, obviously. We like startups, so we invest in some startups. So pretty much the same things that most people invest in, maybe with the exception of startups, because most people probably don't invest in startups. And startups, bless their hearts, I call them magic beans because remember Jack and the Beanstalk? He goes off and he trades a perfectly good cow for magic beans, which don't look like a lot. That's what the startups are like. Most startups fail, so most of them we're not going to ever see our money again. And we hope that some of them will turn into magical unicorns that make up for all the startups that failed, make up for all the investments that we've made, and maybe we'll make some money.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do.
Right.
So yeah, I think you should have a balanced thing. I think the most important thing is an IRA if you're self-employed or you don't actually, or like your company doesn't provide you with some sort of retirement plan, or 401k, because like especially a 401k, I mean, you can tax defer so much money. You can just put the money in your 401k and not pay taxes on it. And then your employer can put some in too. But I think saving pre-tax, because if you're at the 28% tax bracket, you're getting an instant 28%, bonus because you're not paying the taxes on it.
Right.
And then you pay the taxes at the end. And then that's the thing where you got to talk to your tax person is you put it in Roth, where you put it in post-tax, and then it never gets taxed.
My opinion is that if you are under 30, put your money in Roth, because this is the lowest. This is your lowest tax bracket right now, so you may as well put your money in a Roth because it's post-tax money, and when you get to be an age that you can take it out, you're going to be able to take it out tax-free. We are not, financial advisors, tax advisors. Talk to somebody who knows about this stuff. We're just giving you, for my position, I'm giving you a mom's piece of advice that I gave our grown children. So take it for what it's worth.
Peter Thiel put his entire Airbnb angel investment in his Roth, and everyone freaked out because he's like, oh, I don't have to pay taxes on this, like $1 billion gain. $1 billion gain. Okay, Magyar Property Management. We have a lot of realtors. For all the people who watch, there's a lot of real estate professionals in it as well, just like people interested in real estate.
Yeah.
Question for 1,000 video. What housing policy would you feel would create stabilize sustainable growth in homeowners' equity? Or what is a housing policy you'd like to see enacted?
Okay, so I have a housing policy that I would like to see enacted, and I've talked about this before. I would like for people to be able to take their mortgage with them. So if you have that 3% mortgage, I would like for you, when you sell your house, the new people get their own mortgage, and you're buying a new house, you take your mortgage to a new house, and then you get a second mortgage for whatever the difference is, so that you get to keep your 3% mortgage. I think that would be a really good thing. I think it would be beneficial, obviously, to people who have good mortgages. The only downside to that is that if you have any period of time where you like a bridge time between the house that you sold and the house that you buy, then all of a sudden that portion of the mortgage is not secured by a property, and so that makes the bank a little uncomfortable. But this could be done. We do this with title insurance, right? So how we do it with title insurance is you pay for the title policy, and then you pay for what's called a rider, so that if you sell that house within 2 years, then the title policy that you have to pay for is going to be just the difference between the old title policy and the new title policy, not the full title policy. You could do something like that with a loan, charge an extra premium or something like that.
Okay, question for Gabriella R. Question for episode 1000. What do you guys think about the future for real estate agents, since there's Redfin with 1% to 1.5% commissions for sellers and buyers access to MLS similar inventory websites will be automated one day, like Carvana? That's more than one question. And
Okay.
she loves the white dress. Today you're wearing the white
I'm wearing something else that's
a
light.
skirt.
Okay, so full disclosure, when I started out in real estate in Las Vegas, I worked for a discount brokerage because that gave me the opportunity to do a lot of deals very quickly and learn the market.
Listings.
Right. So a lot of listings, and so I did work for a discount brokerage. So to that point, as far as reduced commission, and it was great. I got a lot of experience very quickly, and it was wonderful. All commissions are negotiable, right? And it all depends on the value being provided. As far as a model like Carvana, we kind of talked about that a couple minutes ago. Something similar might be possible, but at the end of the day, this is the largest investment that people make, the largest purchase that they make, and I don't know that they're going to feel fully comfortable just with an AI without sufficient human interaction to both validate their choices and give them some human advice. So we'll see.
I think the commission model is outdated. I think people should pay agents like they pay their attorneys. They should just pay them, and they get a bonus when they buy a house based on that, like base plus a bonus. But then when you're using your agent, they're getting paid.
Right.
And it'll probably be quite a bit of money. So people probably will want to wait until they're serious about it. But the agent will help them do everything.
Right. To give you some perspective, if you are doing like a living will or trust or something like that, you pay an attorney to do that, right? And that costs you several $1,000s. We do that. Now, can you do that online for, pennies on the dollar with some boilerplate thing? Yes, you can. Do you get the same product? Not exactly.
Okay. Alonzo Perry, 3 days ago. This is a little bit of a rant, but I'll read it there for you, Alonzo. Okay, you guys can't be serious. If I put 20% down on a home with a higher credit score or someone lower tax bracket, it clearly shows I would have a higher interest rate. Tell me again how this is clickbait. Why are you telling people the specific values you put in front of us? How's that subsiding risks is red flag? Okay, here's the thing. I'll put the chart back up right now. Nowhere on this chart. This is the chart that's effective right now for these Fannie and Freddie loans. This is the chart. Nowhere on this chart, based on what your down payment is, do you pay more for a higher credit score. This thing has to be rebalanced all the time. To think that 2 years ago, when they set the rates the first time, that they perfectly distributed the risk perfectly across the thing is not true. They've had 2 years to look at the data of how these loans have performed, because they have to insure these loans. So every once in a while they have to say, hey, why don't we add some more? Like, we can't just go everybody above 720 gets this. Let's go 720, 740, 760, 780. Let's give them different risk scores. And when they do this, the whole thing changes. So they have to rebalance this, because their goal is to do one thing. It's to get as many people in housing as possible, and then these things have to be sold on the secondary market, securitized and insured, and they can't be wrong on these. They got to be close. So just because it looked like some people were getting a better deal, that they're not really getting a better deal. You can see on the thing. So people just don't understand. No one's getting, if you're in every instance, if your credit score is higher, you pay less in interest rate. Okay, here's Chris Montesinos. Question for your 1,000th episode. A high volume of new construction will start roughly Q3 of 2023, majorly in 2024, and leveling off in 2025. What impact would you expect this to have on existing home prices? Chris in Villarica, Georgia.
Okay, so we are not familiar with Georgia, so we apologize. It could very well be possible that there are lots of permits that have been pulled in Georgia, and that you're absolutely right. We just don't know that. Here in Las Vegas, that is not the case. We have not seen a rise in building permits, so we are not seeing what you're talking about. So sorry that we can't give you more specific information.
But in general, it's not like home builders get together and say, let's do a ton of building in 2024. They have no idea what's going to happen those years. They don't build until they have a very good idea what's going to cost them, what the market looks like. And if you're in a market that's growing, and certainly Metro Atlanta is a growing area, then they may be building, but I can't imagine they're planning like a massive flood the market with properties. That just doesn't happen. So I don't know where you're hearing this, but
I kind of understand it. So here's what I understand, that it is possible because we are looking at the end of higher interest rates toward the end of this year, and interest rates going down at the end of this year or beginning of next year. So so that is a very, very distinct possibility. With interest rates going down, builders are maybe anticipating that, and they're getting ready to build more houses to accommodate the buyers that will be in the market at that point when interest rates go down. So you have a very valid point. We just have not seen the rise in permits being pulled here, so that's why we can't validate that for you.
Okay, about 13 more to go. So if you can pause the video if you need to go fill up your coffee again. Okay, Alex Maddox, what do the locals do for fun in Vegas that tourists don't do?
Oh my gosh, yes. So it depends on what you enjoy, right? It's like anything else. If you enjoy exotic animals, you can go see the dolphins at the Mirage, which is on the Strip, or you can go to the lion habitat, which is in Henderson. They have lions. They have a giraffe. That's pretty amazing. If you like bunnies, you can go up to Floyd Lamb Park, and there are peacocks there, and there's a bunny rescue, and they have 100 bunnies that you can go pet and feed them. So those are cool things to do. If you want to go out to Red Rock Canyon, or if you want to go skiing at Lee Canyon, lots of outdoorsy things to do around Vegas. We have tons of parks, tons and tons of parks that are beautiful, and there are things to do. We have movie theaters, we have bowling alleys, we have libraries, we have art galleries, all kinds of interesting things to do. We have several theater companies in town, so there's usually something playing. We have all kinds of art and performing arts at UNLV. So whatever your thing is, there are cool things to do. And honestly, locals only go to the Strip when we have visitors. The rest of the time, we just have other fun things to do.
Robert Mitchell, Todd, how fast have you ever driven a car, and what was the car? Have you ever driven on the Las Vegas track? I will not disclose my max speed in a vehicle. However, I'll say do drive a Tesla, and it will do 90. It used to do 90 in full self-driving or in advanced autopilot. So you could go to 90 and put it on. If you went faster than 90 and put it on, it would slow to 90. But it would do 90 on the highway. It did a very good job. And I have never driven on the Las Vegas track, meaning the Las Vegas Speedway. They have the race track, the straight track, and then they have the where they race the NASCAR events and everything. But 16 years ago, before a major event, I did sing the national anthem
at the Speedway.
At the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Speedway do have a theater background, musical theater background. I've appeared in numerous musical productions, including Sound of Music, The Music Man, Chorus Line, a bunch of productions. Right, most of them I had the lead role. So
okay,
yeah.
Just FYI.
Don't Google it because this was before YouTube. Yeah. None of them are on YouTube.
Yeah. At 117 miles an hour, the Town and Country minivan, the transmission disengages. Just saying.
Okay. iTech 5. Oh, mamma mia, those new property taxes. I don't remember. I didn't see any new property taxes. Vegas is the highest unemployment rate in the country, 5.5%. Wow, the hottest market ever.
So our property taxes go up 3% a year.
Okay. We have very low property taxes, actually, compared to other markets. SB 426 going to hit you clowns hard. So why don't you, I'll talk about the 5.5% after you talk about the SB 426, because that's kind of first of all, it's not real. It's proposed.
Right. Okay. So SB 426. So our legislature, bless their hearts, they're in session. They're in session from January until May. They're almost done. They're done this week or next week.
Yeah.
Anyway, SB 426. It's about rent control. That's really the bottom line. And they're talking about rent control to where landlords can't raise the rent more than the cost of living. And if your current tenant is paying 2 bananas, then the new tenant can only pay 2 bananas, and you have to wait a year before you can raise the rent and that sort of thing. There are lots of provisions in there. They estimated that there are about 95,000 homes that would qualify for exemptions, or at least would apply for exemptions to the rent control and all kinds of things. Look, we'll see how this thing hashes out by the time it's all done. We probably won't know really what happens with it until well after the legislature session has ended, and over the summer when they actually reconcile all the bills and figure out how they're going to implement them and all that. So we'll see.
Okay, 5.5% unemployment rate. It's extremely misleading. We always lead the nation in unemployment. During the pandemic, we had 60-something% unemployment. Okay, there's 2 industries that have the highest turnover, and so and that one is construction. Okay, construction in general has 13% unemployment. If you say I work in construction, 13% whole industry is unemployed at any given time. Okay, the other one is leisure and hospitality. It's basically Vegas. It's the Strip, it's the casinos and everything else. That industry normally has about an 8% because you have a lot of turnover. You have people, they leave, they work 2 or 3 years somewhere and then they leave, and then they're unemployed because, the show they were in ended or whatever, thing, and they go to some other thing, right? They work at a buffet, they close the buffet, and then they go get another job somewhere else. So you have these huge gaps in leisure and entertainment. Well, because those are the predominant industries here, are construction, because we're always building, and leisure and entertainment, we have this sort of fake, floor where it looks like we have high unemployment, but we don't. Actually, one of the interesting things about Vegas is, we have 8.2 people moving here every hour. So there's always jobs. Like you could literally go down the Strip and say, I want to work, and they'll have a job for you. So that number is fake. It's not that we have a high unemployment here. We don't. We have the 2 highest industries that have the most amount of variation throughout the year. So the member unemployment rate was 65%. 65% at the peak during COVID. We had over half the people. They were actually not. They were unemployed. All the restaurants, all the casinos, everyone said, go home, you're all unemployed.
Right. And then, of course, all the industries that support all this, they were also unemployed. So it was a huge domino effect for us.
We have the highest number of open jobs per capita of any other place in the country. So you can't just look at the number. You have to put everything in perspective. So Bob makes a ton of comments. 3 questions. So he gave us 3 questions. What was your most viewed video? And why do you think that was? Which one do you think was most viewed?
I don't know. You would know that. I don't.
Well, I made a video that had 150,000 views, but that was the piano at CES.
Okay.
That was the flat piano.
Okay.
But one of the videos we did that had a ton of views was the Croatia. We were in Croatia.
That's the one I was thinking
Croatia
of.
versus living in Croatia versus the USA.
Yeah.
That video blew up. It got all the views in like 2 or 3 days, like all 50,000 views. Okay. When did you call the end of the crash of 2008? What factors did you use? Do you remember that?
I wanted to answer the other question first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because the other question was, which video are you most proud of?
Okay.
And the one that I like the best is the one, what happens after you make your last mortgage payment? That's one of my favorite ones.
That was funny because we were like, what do you want to make? And she just found this article and said, I want to talk about what happens when you make, like, what are the 17 things that happen when you make your last mortgage payment? And it got like no views for like 3 months, and then out of the blue it started, like all of a sudden it was #1 for last mortgage payment, and now we get a ton of views out of it. So that was pretty fun. Plus it helped people.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people comment going, oh, I made my last mortgage payment. No, yes. I'm pretty clear. Okay, so during the housing crash, we were listing the bank-owned homes. If you saw our 99th video, you saw us at like a foreclosed home and everything. So we had literally at any time, Oana and I had about 600 listings at any time, all over the place. And we were really in tune with what was going on. And we got to a point where we started to see multiple offers again. We stopped seeing we went from 600 properties to 200 listings. I mean, we had 600 for years, and all of a sudden we wake up one day and we're like selling them and not getting new ones as fast. And we could see the market turning before people could, and we called the market bottom, and literally people laughed at us and said, "Oh my gosh, there was shadow inventory and you're whatever." And then about 5 or 6 months later, home prices started ticking up because remember there's a lag time.
Right.
So, and that was factors we used. We didn't just look in the MLS. We actually looked at how we saw business transacting.
Right.
And one of the listings I had got 125 offers.
Yep.
And that was because inventory was like now. Inventory kept dropping. We went from 26,000 homes on the market to like 6,000 or 7,000, which is a normal market. Okay, PJ's Romp Room, another common commenter. Can you break down your process for getting probate listings? And do you split the commission with the lawyer, or how's it structured?
Okay, so good question. I do probate listings. So this all depends on your state. So for example, in Nevada, we cannot split our commissions with an attorney unless that attorney has a real estate license. So in that case, we work it the same way we work with home inspectors or with lenders, where I send business to the home inspector or to the attorney, and the attorney maybe sends me some business back. Same thing with the home inspector. So it's kind of we work on a reciprocity basis, right?
But there's no income sharing.
Right.
The home inspector doesn't give us $100 for sending somebody.
No. So there is no financial remuneration. There's just kind of trading business back and forth. In other states where maybe you're allowed to share your commission with an attorney, then maybe you can do that. So it all depends on your state, what your state allows you to do.
Robert Mitchell, have the number of agents changed since last year?
Yeah.
Okay, last year we had 21,000 in Clark County, which is the county. We had 21,000 real estate licensees, and I just checked the numbers, and we have
about 20,000.
20,000. So we've lost about 1,000.
Right.
Okay. Jazzman, I wonder how often people trash the house before foreclosure.
So, you'd be surprised. It's not as many times as you think. Most of the times the homes are just not maintained, because remember, if they're not making their mortgage payment, they're kind of detached from the house. So they're not going to do some of the upkeep items that you would normally do when you're living in a house. But most of the time the houses are fine. They just need, paint and carpet and, maybe some plumbing repairs, but they're fine. Yes, there are people who trash the houses. But for the most part, the houses are just in disrepair more than anything else and need to be updated and upgraded.
Okay, next. This isn't a question, but this is Steve Long Beach. He's a super fan. He comments on a ton of videos. You guys rock. But I got an alert that somebody had tipped us, and we'd never been tipped. I think this is the first tip, right?
No, I think we've gotten a couple more tips.
A lot, but I don't think it was $10.
I don't know.
So thank you, Steve. We appreciate it.
Right. Steve was recent, so we remember Steve. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're very grateful for all of your attention and affection.
Yeah. Tony C., how much do you think homes will appreciate over the next 10 years?
That's a great question. First of all, the caveat is, of course, it depends on where you are, right?
Yeah.
Depends on where you are.
Miami, 5,000%.
So, it depends on where you are. And even within, like if you're talking about Las Vegas, one zip code's going to appreciate more than another and so forth. I don't know a specific number over the next 10 years, but, I can say that in places where we have homes, I'm expecting our homes to kind of appreciate at a moderate rate of 5-6% a year. But you compound that over 10 years, and now you're talking some real money.
All right. I think so. I think it's the normal thing. What we've seen the last, if you look back over the last 40, 50 years, real estate appreciates 5% a year.
Yeah.
And then you have inflation, so it beats inflation by a little bit. And last question.
Okay.
Aaron Jackson, if you could live anywhere else in the world, where would you choose? We've been all over the world.
Yeah. Um, I don't know that I would choose one particular place. I think I would choose to be more of a nomad and maybe live 4 months in one place, then move on to another and really kind of get to know a place.
So, like, name some places you've traveled that you would go back maybe for a month or 2 or 3 and just stay there and
Oh, so
be a local.
yeah, I mean, so I would love to be a local for a few months, in Valencia, Spain, and Seville, Spain. I would love to do that in Paris. I would love to do that. I'd love to do that in London. I'd love to do that in Dublin. I would like to do that in Edinburgh. I would like to do it in. I'd like to do it in Switzerland. The place with the lake that I really like.
Lake Como?
No, well, yes, in Lake Como too, but no, I'm talking about the
Lucerne?
the big city with the lake where we went all day long on the boat.
Zurich?
Yes, Zurich. Thank you.
Zurich. Zurich's super nice. It's
Yeah.
very expensive.
So
What about summer in, like, Auckland or in, Melbourne or
yeah,
Sydney?
so I
Well, summer there is December, January, February. It's winter here. It's summer there.
yeah, so I'd love to spend a few months in New Zealand, a few months in Australia. I have never been to Asia, so I would love to go to Asia and spend some time there. I'd love to go to India. So my idea of a good time is maybe spending 3 or 4 months in a place and getting to know the people, the culture, getting to live like a local, and then moving on and doing it again somewhere else and continuing to learn and to grow.
Okay, besides running this YouTube channel and your real estate jobs, what aspirations do you have for future work-wise? So what would you do besides, like, you don't have to work or whatever, but you want to stay engaged? What kind of things would you do? Because you're in that position right now.
It's a good question. I kind of toyed with a travel blog, obviously, because I like to travel. I toyed with that for a while, and maybe I would toy with that again.
Okay.
I think that would be interesting to me to do and to share my love of places with people.
Okay. Okay, so just you think like a travel thing?
Yeah.
I would probably want to do something technical, maybe helping startups, working with venture capital, allocating, trying to find, put companies and money together in the right way. I think AI is going to absolutely change everything. Doing some implementation with things like that, I think would be pretty fun. Obviously, staying active mentally, I think, is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe try to become a chess grandmaster or something like that, right? Try to do some completely out of the box thing, but like sitting around playing golf or whatever is not going to work for me. Growing up, I was always high energy, high performing, doing sports, going to the Naval Academy, being Marine Corps pilot, just always super high achieving. Mm-hmm. So I can't now all of a sudden turn that off. That's why we do startups and we're doing real estate and we have a lot of stuff going on. So, yep.
So you made it to the end, hopefully.
Finally.
Was it fun? Was it interesting? Let us know if you think that we should maybe do this like once a year or, every
1,000 episodes.
Every 1,000 episodes.
The next episode 2,000 be tomorrow. If they're still here watching.
So, so let us know what you thought. Your comments are always welcome. We enjoy engaging with you. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your support. If you think this is a cool channel, please share it with others. And we look forward to engaging with you in the comments. Bye.
Bye.